A food safety hazard is a biological, chemical, or physical agent or condition in food that could potentially cause an adverse human health. Effect food safety hazards can also be found in animal feed and feed ingredients. They can also pose a risk to humans through the consumption of animal products. Foodborne illnesses. Foodborne illnesses are defined as diseases, either infectious or toxic in nature, caused by agents that enter the body through the ingestion of food. Myriad microbes and toxic substances can contaminate foods. There are more than 250 known foodborne diseases. Majority are infectious and caused by bacteria, viruses, and parasites. Other foodborne diseases are poisoning caused by toxins and chemicals contaminating the food. Potential hazards that can result in foodborne illnesses.
There are three types of hazard to food. They are biological, chemical, and physical. In biological hazard, it includes bacteria, parasite, elements, virus, fungi, and germs. Biological hazard are organisms or substances produced by organisms that pose a threat to human health. They are a major concern in food processing because they cause most foodborne illness outbreaks. It can occur any stage of food processing. In chemical hazard, it includes agricultural chemicals, natural plant toxins, animal toxins, food additives, medication, radioactive substances, and alcohol. Chemical hazards such as pesticides, cleaning agents, etc. can be present in foods when the foods are cultivating, harvesting, manufacturing will cause harm or adverse health effects when the food is eaten. In physical hazard, it includes foreign objects in food such as hair, pebbles, glass shards, toothpick, plastic, metal, fragments, and fibers. Physical hazard means the foreign objects that comes to food raw preparation and final stage of food manufacturing can cause illness to the humans.
Sources of food safety hazards. Risk of hazards resulting in foodborne illnesses can arise from every steps in food process, from production to consumption. Risk of one or more hazards are always present in each step or area. Hazards can contaminate food through the following factors: material, man, method, machine, money, and environment. Gross contamination is transfer of such harmful substances from one food to another through a non-food surface, such as cooking wares, equipment, and food workers. General categories of contamination.
Number 1. Inherent in raw material. Raw food material may appear clean, but microorganisms, chemicals, even foreign objects may be found in the raw food as it is grown, harvested, cooked, or slaughtered. A study done on several raw food indicates that no uncooked food should be considered completely safe from bacterial pathogens. Snyder 2004. Number 2. Contamination through time temperature abuse. A food is said to have been time temperature abused if it has been allowed to stay too long at temperature favorable to the growth of microorganisms. This temperature is referred to as the temperature danger zone.
I'm going to discuss about contamination due to time temperature abuse. So it includes failure to hold or store at the required cold or hot temperature. So, dapat you should be mindful about the levels sa every food na imo palito. Since about sabion sa time temperature abuse, dapat kay busab ka kung kinuno ang food madaot. So, for example, ang mga fish or pork, di ba, dapat yun naka-fridge yun sila. Pero dapat kay ikaw kung pila da ka days sa fridge para makaon mo da sila og dili sila ma-contaminate kung masubraan pagdugay. So the second is failure to cook or reheat to temperature that will kill harmful microorganism. So meaning, if dili mo daw ma-reheat, it means dili mapatay ang mga bakterya na yaon sa pagkaon. So number 3 is long interval between food preparation and serving without appropriate temperature. So example is yung cake maglast ng 2 weeks. Depende sa cake or depende sa pagkaluto ng cake. May pagkaon na magdugay basta yaka freezer. Tapos madaot pag dili i-freezer.
Cross contamination. Meaning of cross contamination is cross contamination occurs when microorganisms are transferred from a contamination food contact surface or food to a non-contaminated food contact surface or food. Common cross contamination in towns are addition of raw materials to cook ingredients without it being heated or cooked. Contamination from dirty apparel of food handlers. And the third one is contamination of food surface.
I will discuss the poor personal hygiene. Personal hygiene is essential for good health, and habits such as washing our hands, bathing, and brushing our teeth may sound basic, but they are vital for keeping you healthy. In people with poor personal hygiene, the body provides an ideal environment for germs to grow, leaving them vulnerable to infection and able to contaminate food and food contact. Individuals poor personal hygiene practices can contaminate food and food contact surfaces. The most common personal hygiene violations that can result in foodborne illnesses include failure to wash your hands, which causes the microorganisms in the food to be transferred. Failure of proper hygiene habits that can be done, like taking a bath, brushing teeth, hand washing, cutting nails, and other habits. Working when sick can provide germs to co-workers and can come into contact with food. Lack of training and proper personal hygiene practices like cleaning and sanitizing places. Always wash every day, sanitize places, and maintain good health. Both men and women must make an effort to appear well-groomed, clean, and presentable at all times.
Potential hazardous foods or PHF. Some types of food have ability to support the rapid, progressive growth of infections and toxin-producing microorganisms. These foods are called potentially hazardous and have the following characteristics. A natural potential for contamination. Contamination occurs due to the methods used to produce and process food. High moisture that support bacterial growth. Food with high moisture unlikely to support microbial growth. Highly perishables or fresh. Food and canned fruits. Vegetables, meat, fish, and milk are examples of PHF or high moisture content. High protein and carbohydrate. These kinds of food provide a rich sources of bacterial food. These food include meat, poultry, fish, dairy products, and eggs. Not acidic enough to inhibit the growth of microorganisms. Fresh fruits and vegetables and some seafood have low acidity levels that can sustain microbial growth. The FDA Food Code classifies the following as PHF. Dairy products like milk, cream, ice cream, and yogurt. All cooked meat and poultry. Cuts, melons, and garlic oil mixtures that are growth of microorganisms. Cooked rice beans and baked or broiled potatoes. Symptoms of foodborne illnesses. In most cases of foodborne illnesses, symptoms resemble intestinal flu and may last for a few hours or even several days. Symptoms can range from mild to serious and include
abdominal cramps, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, fever, dehydration, heat aches.
Some people are at a greater risk for bacterial infections because of their age or an unhealthy immune system. Individuals who are susceptible to the effects of foodborne illnesses are infants and young children, pregnant women, elderly person over 65 years old, person with debilitating illnesses or chronic diseases like cancer, diabetes, mellitus, and tuberculosis. Treatment of foodborne illnesses. Most cases of foodborne illnesses are mild and can be treated by increasing by fluid intake, either orally or intravenously, to replace lost fluid and electrolytes. People who experience gastrointestinal or neurologic symptoms should seek medical attention. In the most severe situations, hospitalization may be needed to receive supportive nutritional and medical therapy. Maintaining adequate fluid and electrolyte balance and controlling blood pressure are important.
Socioeconomic effects of foodborne illnesses. The distress suffered by the patient, his, her, and member, and the caregivers cannot be calculated in monetary. The worst scenario is when the final result of the episodes of illnesses is death. 1. Costs that may be incurred by the sick individual or caregiver or family are loss of income, loss of opportunities for advancement, lost productivity, lost leisure and travel opportunities, and lastly, the funeral expense.
Number 2. Business and industry cost. First is legal liability cost. It describes a situation in which a small business is held legally responsible for injuring or financially harming another party. Second is insurance cost, means of protection from financial loss. Third is cost of recall or discarded product. It covers expenses related to recalling a product once it has been released to the public. Fourth is loss of customers and business. Fifth, cost of investigation, cleaning up, and education. Number 3, cost to the nation and government. First is expenses for plant or on-site inspection. Second, legislation. It is the process or product of enrolling, enacting, or promulgating law by a legislature, parliament, or analogous governing body. Third is medical cost. It is any cost incurred in the prevention or treatment of injury or disease. Fourth is prosecution cost, means the legal and other professional fees, costs, and expenses incurred by an insured person with the prior written consent of the insurer. Fifth is healthcare or welfare benefits. It means all company medical, dental, vision, life, and disability plans in which employee participates. And the last one is losses from tourism and food export trade.
Points to remember regarding potential hazard in food service operation. Foodborne illnesses are acquired from eating food or drinking beverages contaminated with bacteria, viruses, or parasites. People at greater risk for foodborne illnesses include young children, pregnant women and their unborn child, elderly, and people with lowered immunity. Foodborne hazards can be classified as biological, chemical, or physical. Biological hazards can be caused by parasites, virus, or bacteria. Chemical contaminants in food can come from industrial and agricultural source, food processing, or the food itself.